Red button means we're live, a casual take with your boy Stephen Pepper, here to give a take off my chest. So last night's game was so Steelers, right? The offense could only come up with one touchdown, really struggling in the red zone. But don't worry, that's okay because field goals and a punt return for a score is enough behind a great defense. That's been Steelers football for the last couple years. I mean, their MVP this decade obviously has been TJ Watt, but also Chris Boswell, their kicker. I mean, how many games have the Steelers won where it feels like Boswell nails about 3 to 5 field goals and Watt comes up big with a sack? Like almost every game. What happened last night? Boswell nailed 4 field goals, Watt big strip sack. And they do that about 9 to 10 times a year and somehow make the playoffs in the AFC without really great offensive talent and an offensive league. And it's nothing special. It's really not the Steelers' way. It's not going to draw you to your TV every Sunday or win a Super Bowl in 2024, but you got to tip your cap to Mike Tomlin for running a program that, number one, knows its identity, and number two, most important, wins more than loses. I mean, that's important. This is the NFL we're talking about. Wins matter a lot. And, as much as I criticize Mike Tomlin on here about not winning a playoff game since 2017, not really doing much in general since his last Super Bowl appearance over a decade ago, he has, for it feels like since Big Ben's prime, really kept the Steelers away from being a disaster. I mean, look at the quarterbacks he's had. Old Big Ben, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, and now Russell Wilson. Some average to wash quarterbacks, and the Steelers have been winning games. A lot of games. This guy's never had a losing season in his career. Like, this is the Steelers we're talking about, a real big brand with tradition. And Mike Tomlin has kept that afloat with some really mid-quarterback points and mid-offenses. I mean, last year, they averaged 17 points a game. 17 in 2024. And went 10-7 in the tough AFC. Albeit, there was a lot of injuries in the AFC at the quarterback position. But 10-7 in the AFC in 2024, scoring 17 points a game. That's just the Steelers and Mike Tomlin really getting collaboration from all three sides of the ball, offense, defense, and special teams, squeezing everything out of them, all the talent that he has, their toughness, and just winning 9 to 10 games a year. I mean, you take away that punt return from last night from Calvin Austin. The Steelers have the same amount of points as the Giants. Because, if the punt return didn't happen, the Giants would not have won for 2. They would have kicked the extra point. 19-19. The Steelers would have the same amount of points as the Giants. But again, the Steelers on the backs of defense, special teams, they just do enough to win games. And that's the Steelers. Mike Tomlin said this after the game. I really love this quote from it. It's just so Mike Tomlin. He said, quote, "It wasn't as fluid as we would have liked, but that's football. We got to guard against caring about style points." I mean, again, since the Killer Bees left town, this team has been nothing. They don't do style points. They don't beat you with 5-6 touchdowns like prime Big Ben used to. They run the ball. They try to limit turnovers. They get big punt returns, and TJ Watt's going to get a couple strip sacks. I mean, Russ fumbled in his own territory last night with 3 minutes left to go, one possession game. I think you could guess that ending. TJ Watt strip sack. But then the Giants got the ball back again with about a minute, one possession game. I think we could have all guessed that ending. Pick to end the game. Because that's how the Steelers win. On the backs of their defense and special teams. Only one offensive touchdown. Hey, Russ looks great last night. I mean, that deep ball to Pickett, you couldn't throw any better. But that's Mike Tomlin knowing his team. I mean, Mike Tomlin coached the same team. I mean, this is the same Steelers team Mike Tomlin coached that won a playoff game on 6 field goals. 6 field goals. They won a playoff game. That's the Steelers' way. They don't score that many touchdowns. I mean, Mike Tomlin offenses in the last couple of years, it looks like it's really hard for them to score more than one offensive touchdown. But they still win 9 to 10 games a year because their defense is going to make sure that opponent doesn't score more than 2 offensive touchdowns. And their special teams coach over there cheering on the sideline, looking hype. He's in the weight room a couple years ago with his team. They get a return touchdown. The Steelers, they just win 9 to 10 times a year by doing just enough. Offense, defense, special teams. It's beautiful to watch at times. They just all come together. They're not as talented as some of the big teams in the AFC, but they squeeze a lot out of them. They're 6-2 today. That's way better than the Bengals. The Bengals got Chase, Higgins, Burrow, Trey Hendrickson. And the Steelers have way more wins than them. Just because of the way they win games. They just win every game, it feels like, by doing just enough. And you got to credit Mike Tomlin. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in this episode of A Casual Take. Follow my social medias to stay updated on all things related to the show. Till next time, see you.